Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Kirsty. Before I get to Kirsty's question, I just want to mention that next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a free live webinar about how we deal with change, how we deal with uncertainty, the fact that we as human beings are actually designed for change. It's in our blueprint, it's in our human design. Uh, Life has always been uncertain, but man, we can have a really hard time with change and uncertainty when we kind of get in our heads and get worried about it and don't just innocently don't really see how our design has us changing and dealing with uncertainty and change all the time, and it always has. So very relevant webinar for right now. I'll speak to worries about finances and health and uncertainty in general and social isolation, and what to do if your habits or coping mechanisms have kind of reared their heads back up in the past few months, and all of that. So I hope you can join me for the free webinar. The link, I'll put it in the description of this Ask Amy question, so you can find it there. So again, that's next Tuesday, August 25th. So Kirsty's question, she says, "Hi Amy, I love your podcast. I've listened to almost all of them, I think now. Awesome. My anxious thinking is all around sleep, and it's so much better than it was." Well, that's good, Kirsty. "However, I still have a set of safety rules that are there to stop the thoughts coming in at bedtime. Even as I write this, I realize what an impossible and ludicrous concept it is to stop thoughts. How is it that I'm still so fearful of some of my thoughts? And when I try and test my rules, I often get caught up in a thought storm and therefore I'm not sleeping. With 4 kids and a job, I feel sleep is very important. However, my made-up rules seem to be a priority above my other relationships. I can see through them, but I'm still just scared enough of my thoughts to follow through on them as well. It leaves me feeling stuck. Where's my insight?" So there's so much wisdom, Kirsty, not only in what's happening for you, but in this question and how you write it and ask it. So I love, what did I just see? Okay, so I have a set of safety rules. So I assume rituals or things that you do before bed that appear to stop some kind of thoughts from coming at night, right? Some kind of relaxing ritual, which is so interesting, because in and of itself, I mean, that's your mind trying to help you. It's your mind trying so much, your brain trying, oh, do this, do that, you'll feel better, it'll be okay. And the interesting thing about that is that, you know, when we kind of do that and we believe it, sometimes it seems to work. It's just a superstition, it's a misunderstanding, but it does seem to kind of help at times, you know. And so again, we can see this all over the place. Like, I had a bunch around food, and if I wanted to just, you know, be kind of normal with food and not get all in my bingey mind, all these things had to happen. I would tell myself, my mind would tell me, I should say. And the more I kind of fed into those rituals and did all that stuff, because I believed it was keeping something at bay, it kind of was. But then, and that sounds like it's what's happening for you, right? But then we kind of hit a point where we just know better too much. And I love that you're at that point, Kirsty. I know it feels like a lot of friction and it's hard, but I love that you're at that point, because you are at a place where you see, okay, these sleep rules actually imprisoning me now more than they're freeing me, you know, like I'm ready to move beyond that. And so I love how you even say, you can see that it's impossible, you know, ludicrous concept to try to stop thoughts. How is it that I'm so fearful of some of my thoughts? And I think there's a lot in that, because when we're at the level of some of my thoughts, you know, like these ones are okay, but these ones aren't. Or these ones are, I can just, you know, play with and consider and sit with. And these other ones, oh no, if that thought comes in, it's going to be horrible. That's so telling. It's so telling, because it shows us right where our focus is, like right where we're kind of looking. We're looking at the level of this thought versus that thought. And in that way, we're looking at thought with a small t. We're looking at the content and the story, right? But what we want to do, and this is helpful always, is to kind of back up a tiny bit and look at thought with a big T. And beyond the stories, this story versus that story versus this thought versus that thought, at a level beyond that, a level bigger than that, they're all thought. They're all exactly the same. Now I know they don't feel the same and they don't sound the same and they're talking about different things, but we can put all of that, all of those small t thoughts, your sleep thoughts, your family thoughts, your work thoughts, we could put them all in one big bucket and label it thought. And that is huge to see, because what that starts to show us is that they're all exactly the same. And yes, they will not appear the same, but when something is so gripping, like whatever thoughts you have before you're going to go to sleep, when they feel different and real and gripping, the feeling in that is showing us, oh, I've given a lot of meaning to this. You know, it's not that. It's not meaningful. It's not any more special or different than any other thought. But we in our mind has given a lot of meaning to it, and that's why it hurts. That's why you're afraid of it. So it's not a bad thing at all. It's not a flaw or a bad thing that some thought feels really heavy. That's just feedback. It's just showing you, oh, I'm not seeing it's all the same. I'm seeing that these look special and these don't look, and these look normal. These look scary and these look safe or whatever. And it's all the same. I hope you can hear that, Kirsty. It's huge, huge to see that. So what starts to happen from there is, rather than this one, that one, how they feel, oh no, good, bad, problem, not problem, it's all just feedback that they're all exactly the same. And then the more gripped you get by some particular thoughts before you fall asleep, that that discomfort, like what comes up in you around that, it's just that reminder, oh, this looks real, but it isn't real. And we get to keep sort of backing up, in a sense, backing up and saying, okay, I'm okay. But anything that moves through me that feels scary or threatening, or that my mind starts racing around, that's just my mind going in that direction, seeing things, you know, the way it wants to see things. So rather than kind of asking this question around what to do with these sleep rules, which isn't exactly how you asked it, but I can tell there's a bit, like in here, there's a bit of like, do I just not do the rule? Do I not do the rituals or follow the sleep rules? Do I do them anyway? Like, let's ask a different question. Instead of like, how do you get out of these sleep rule thoughts? Why is it that they look different? Like, what's in the way? What could you see that would help those thoughts look like any other thought that shows up in your head? Like, what's for lunch? What time is it? What temperature is it outside? All of that. Those are no different than these thoughts you have around sleep, or the thoughts you have around avoiding the thoughts around sleep. They're all the same. So again, rather than because when we go down this path of like, well, should I just ignore the sleep rituals and the sleep rules, or should I do it so that I can get some sleep so I can be up for my 4 kids and my job? Like, kind of not a helpful direction. And you know that because that's what you're asking about. So you've seen that it's not helpful. Let's not try to find a behavioral way out of this. Let's find an insight way out of this. And the seeing way out of it, the bigger way out of it, is that when you see, as you see, Kirsty, that all thought is the same, and that the more it grips you, the more it's not looking the same to you, but it truly is. It gets to be that reminder that it is. The less you just don't have a problem anymore. You know, really and truly, you just don't have a problem anymore. You wouldn't go act on all these sleep rules when you really saw that those sleep rules are no different than what's for lunch kind of thought, or that they're holding away some other scarier thoughts. Like when it all looks even at that level, the whole ritual avoidance thing, it just falls away because it doesn't make sense anymore. So that's where I want you to look. That's where I want you to look. And it's going to take a backing up from your experience. So right now you're like this with sleep, and it's real, and there's this and there's that, and everything looks different and separate. It's going to take a backing up to say, nope, all my thinking around sleep is the same as all my thinking around my family, is the same as all my thinking around my job, around what I eat, around what I wore today, around what temperature it is outside. In this level, it's all very, very, very different. And that's fine. We live in this level often. But this level is also available and there and true all the time. So when you back up a little bit, oh, all this tightness is just my mind showing me that I'm caught up at a really minuscule face in front of it, kind of smushed up level. And I just want to back up a little bit. And you know, there's a lot of layers of all this stuff. You have lots of conditioning. We all do around sleep, around everything in life, a lot of things in life. So just be willing to see all of that as a bunch of thinking. Get really dumb, Kirsty, as much as you can. Say, I don't know how I'll do. I don't know how it's going to be if that thought shows up tonight. I don't know what I'll feel like if I don't get any sleep, because you truly don't. Sometimes we live in all this conditioned thinking about, oh no, I need sleep, and then this, and then that. And before we know it, we have just a million conditions that must be met, a million thoughts we're afraid of, or a million thoughts we need to have. And we're never gonna, that's not how we're meant to go through life at all. So again, keep seeing all of that is just us down here and lots of complexity. The more we can kind of relax all of that, not cling to anything, know that your body knows how to sleep. Your mind knows how to relax. Your brain's trying to help you, but you are seeing that that's not even necessary. That's not necessary. So we get to just keep backing off and letting nature do what nature knows how to do, letting your body and your mind do exactly what they know how to do. So I hope it's helpful, Kirsty. I hope it points you a little bit out of the muck of all of that and in a much bigger direction. From there, things just keep getting easier. It might not happen instantly, but you're then looking in the right, bigger direction, right? So you keep seeing more and things look less and less serious, and there's a momentum that builds from that change in direction. So thank you so much for sending the question, Kirsty. Everyone, send your questions to AskAmy at thelittleschoolofbigchange.com. Questions about anxiety, thought, habit, anything at all. I love answering these. So I'll be back here on Monday with the next one. So thanks everyone. Have a great week.